Okay,
Okay, we good.
okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Inglewood Cliffs Mayor and Council Special Meeting. Today is February 12, 2024. It's time to around 6:10 p.m. I call this meeting to order. Okay, Ms. Borchard, could you have a roll call, please?
Mayor Park,
Yes.
Member Kim,
Present.
Member Simon,
Yeah.
Member Luciano.
Yeah.
Member Di Gregorio,
Yes, here.
Member Yats.
Yes.
Member Liang.
Okay, thank you. Okay, please all stand up for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please read it. Okay.
Notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law, PL 1975, Chapter 231, setting forth the time, date, and place and purpose of this meeting through a legal notice published in the record and posted on the bulletin board on the borough website.
Okay, next agenda is motion to the open public comment, right?
Yes.
Can I get motion?
Motion to open to the public.
Any second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Nobody?
I
What is
don't
in the website?
I don't see anyone.
Okay, no one seeing here and no one hearing, and we're gonna close.
So, motion to close.
Yes, any second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? No.
Recognize going on to the resolution.
Okay,
Just had a few questions. I know Matt's not here, maybe his associate can, or anybody on the council. Can you explain to me, why our Wednesday general meeting that we voted on just last month was canceled without any, as far as I know, I don't believe Councilwoman Simon, Councilman Kim or myself were consulted, discussed, asked for availability for next week. And I'm just wondering from you, sir, and I apologize not knowing your name, but Matt's associate, or what is the problem? I mean, it just automatically canceled, no discussion. I mean, if we voted on a general meeting last month, can someone tell me why? What was the reason that our meeting for Wednesday was canceled without any consultation?
Question. So one, when it comes to generally the process of canceling a meeting, oftentimes, the mayor, exercises that authority kind of with discretion, but from a practical standpoint, a majority, just like the statute says, if you want to call a special meeting, 4 people can call it. Kind of similarly, if there's not going to be a quorum, and majority mayor, 3 council members or 4 council members want to reschedule a meeting from a practical purpose, you can do it, right? The law is a little bit weird because you're not going to not cancel. You want the public to know if there's not going to be a meeting with a quorum. That's kind of that. Why one was canceled was the hope is for the council votes tonight affirmatively to retain the Cole Shots law firm, and this gives them, a week and a couple of days where at the next meeting next week, come in and be able to give a little bit of right now. I don't want to put you on this stuff. So if they're retaining tonight, then they can come in next week and be able to let the council know what they're doing for the past week to do better enough time, and prepared to discuss it even further.
Okay, so Mr. Max, then who are the 4 council members? Because if there's 3 of us here that weren't even consulted. So who's the 4 members that requested? And because the whole shot issue is a whole, it's a whole different conversation that we need to have as well. Because we're looking to hire litigators where there's no more litigation. We're at penalty right now to figure out what our damages are. And the rate that I see at, we're almost back to Cadwalader rates and for municipality, but to go back, so who, and I understand what you're saying, I appreciate it, we want to give them time, but you know what? We might as well just pile up all the money we have in our pocket right now and just burn it right here. Because if we haven't learned in 7 years what litigation has done for us, I can't understand, and I'd like to hear from my colleagues on the council that what they think is going to happen with hiring litigation attorneys when all we're going to try to do is figure out what the amount is that we've already been found liable. So that's the second part of my question. But what 4 council members for the better of this asked for the council meeting, because I was never consulted. Okay, so the other 3 besides the ones that weren't contacted. So then we go back to the whole hyperbole of how, we want to be transparent. Right? We want open communication, right? Right? We've campaigned on that, how we want to work with the other party. Right? And now in the first 2 months, now we have a cancellation of a meeting where the council hasn't even. Is that the way?
That's not what
So,
it is.
so once again, your personal animus, because you violated your ethics, is going to be held against us because we're saying, wait, so you're saying, so there's gonna be no communication. So because of this, there'll be no communication. Okay, listen, tell the public the truth. That's all.
I'm just informing you of something, man. The way I found out that this week's meeting was gonna be canceled was through a resident. Somebody called and asked me. I had no way of knowing. They told me it's a special meeting. Now, how do you think that makes me look as a council person that I don't have the information and it's only on a meeting?
Yeah, understood.
Okay, so I guess we'll just proceed with that. There'll be no communication between us since what we've had from the beginning of the year. So all of your horse manure about how we need to work together is just evident of how we're going to work together. I requested, I know that there was a number of committee meetings or a few committee meetings, and I guess this just goes right into that since my request of being informed after committee meetings, since we're not going to be informed or consulted about whether we're going to be able to attend a meeting or if we should cancel a meeting. I guess we shouldn't expect any updates on committee meetings, which I think I've sent all of you all. Rivka as well, who's in charge of the police committee. You had a police committee meeting. We didn't get one bit of information.
Next week is gonna be a meeting, you're gonna get all.
Oh, so we should get it so no communication until the general meeting. I just want to be clear how we're gonna operate. So there'll be no communication until the general meeting. What,
You ran it last year before the same way.
you weren't here last year, so what do you mean how we ran it last year? You nerd. Oh, you nerds. Okay, so you don't know from experience, but whatever. Okay, so we'll get no updates. And just the last thing I'd like to comment on is that you hired, in your wisdom, you've hired an attorney for tax appeals that is a bankruptcy attorney. So I think all those tax appeals that are pending, I would just like to say congratulations and good work. Good work on your appointment of a bankruptcy attorney that's going to handle our tax appeals. We might need them eventually ourselves, but it's kind of asinine to me that we're hiring a bankruptcy attorney for tax appeals. Thank you for my time there.
I would like to proceed with, if I may, ask the mayor for permission,
Yeah,
okay, to move a resolution with a statement. The resolution 22-66, resolution awarding a contract to Michael R. Yellen Esquire, Paul Trotz PC, as special litigation counsel, affordable housing. And if I may, I'd like to make a couple of comments at this point, or So we had 10 months last year to have a settlement. We basically heard crickets over those 10 months. There was no settlement agreement to come to. There was actually no discovery that was performed. And the mayor and council was not thoroughly and regularly updated. And in addition, there was no guidance that was given to the process. The new administration has been here for 6 weeks. There has been no information from the present attorney, and we are presently following the court orders and the law, and we are building our affordable housing, complying completely, and with the desire to be a good neighbor. And there should be actually unanimity on the part of this vote on this council to protect the borough, a settlement that, and when we have, let us hope that there can be mediation and all can be settled in a nice fashion. But we now have a firm that is on par with the firms that we're dealing with. Cole Schatz is a national firm with tremendous resources. And in order to protect the residents, we need the best. Anything less is not acceptable, at least to this elected official on the podium right now. We need the best to fight and settle and come to terms with this. So with that, I'd like to move that resolution to hire the Michael Yellen Affordable Housing.
Mayor, for
Okay. Okay. Anybody second? Okay.
move to table, yeah.
Okay, discussion for, so, okay, discuss, okay.
Don't know what Michael Yellen's specialty is. If that affordable housing is his wheelhouse. I don't know how much he's going to get paid per hour. I saw you have a cap on here that was just presented of $150,000. And in all fairness, we did have somebody who was negotiating a settlement, Mr. Powell, last year. You fired him. And then every meeting you brought up a resolution to fire Mr. Wunsch. So how much information do you think that you were going to be able to get from him? Because he never knew if he was coming or going. And in all fairness, when there was an affordable housing committee, we were updated on everything that they were doing.
Well, then that was your obligation to report to the council during a council meeting, just as we will be doing on this next council meeting. We'll be reporting. We is my committees that I'm responsible for and that I chair. I will give you a thorough report on those, and you'll have to wait until then. And there's all good things, actually, Councilman Simon. Now, in hiring, okay, yes. Sorry, did I interrupt somebody?
Chris?
Yes. Who has interviewed Mr. Yellen and asked him about questions about his?
I did it. I
What
did
is
it,
his
yes.
Mayor, and what,
Yes, I did it, and I did this firm and another law firm. I forgot that is they are well prepared for my interview, and then they have a very in-depth knowledge. And also, I consulted with our the council, Mr. Matt Munchie, and that I got a very strong feeling to hire this law firm. That's my opinion. this is a totally, my decision. Yes,
When I think Cold Shots is an awesome firm. Don't
yes.
get me wrong, they're very well
I'm,
known.
I'm glad you think that way.
Front, they're very good. They're very well-
Obij what?
There's a speaker, can you let him finish his statement, please?
I think they're very proud. But my resistance is, and I'm trying to understand what your thinking is that we've been all the way to the appellate division. Litigation is going on. He should be looking, now, if you told me we're going to call shots for people to negotiate. That's something different than we're hiring litigators that I'm not an attorney, I'm nobody. Matter of fact, some people say I can't even read that. I used to be told, okay, but I'm gonna tell you now, discovery is not gonna be reopened. We're not gonna go back. to
No,
trial.
nobody knows about that one. Okay,
It's not gonna be able to go to appeal, and we're gonna be paying these people between $495 an hour or $485 an hour and $700 an hour, depending on if it goes to trial or not. And we're not going to trial. We're not reopening discovery. Barrington, it is not going to happen.
She indicated to, Mr. Dasty, that there was a procedure to reopen discovery. You cannot say that for sure that that's not going to happen.
I said for sure, I was in the court.
Okay, let's let, Mr. let's-
Stop on, he can talk, but I'm saying I just don't understand the logic. For one, the great firm, okay, credit for that, great firm. But what's your logic? Do you honestly think, now he's gonna say maybe we should go to closed session and talk about this, but do you honestly think that we're going to? Do you truthfully think, besides saying to the public that we're doing everything I can except for peeing away money, just burning it? Okay, which is all we've done for 7 years and gonna be costing us millions of dollars. What is the legal strategy? And Matt, maybe we need to go to closed session. But I don't understand what the thinking is of the people that had conversations to move forward this
What is happening with Mr.
Sorry.
Dasty?
Can we let
Okay,
Mr. Mensch?
that's okay.
Go ahead, Matt.
So one, Councilman, you're everyone's talking about, the word litigator. Listen, 90%, probably 95% of cases, and I'm a litigator. So, that doesn't mean you don't settle. In cases, settle. Litigators settle cases. They also prepare cases for trial. So right now, this standpoint, it's all public knowledge, right? There's a hearing. So we don't know whether there's discovery or what to be permitted and what the process is going to be, but somebody's going to have to walk in and put forth evidence through testimony, which if it doesn't settle, we're going to have to then respond to, bring our own discovery, or we don't know what the situation with discovery is. Doesn't mean it's not evidence in a hearing where a judge needs to make factual findings. So it's, so at this point in time, there's no straight secret here, right? We've discussed publicly before. There's a hearing. Borough needs to prepare for, must have an attorney to prepare for. So if it doesn't settle, call to a stand with evidence. So, working for a hearing in front of a testifier, guy also to see if they can settle cases, and they always want to do that from the strongest position possible. So, I think from a big picture point, we need to go to closed session for strategy, which would be no different strategy than if you had, if you weren't hiring call shots. The question simply is, who is the best possible team to assemble to effectuate that strategy? And I think the idea here is that you have call shots. Good share. People that have been involved with before. Call shots can take the lead, but you have that team to prepare both of those or all those contingencies. That's the overthinking. From a closed session standpoint, really more about, the meeting next week, Cole Shots can come in and give you a much more detailed. I mean, listen, they're not hired yet, right? I mean, they've researched this, they've looked at the case, they've read the docket. But they're not going to come in and give you legal advice until they're hired. And they start having,
They don't seem too positive that we're gonna be able to move forward. Same with Mr. Dasty, who already told us, that, I mean, in his resignation letter, that we're in for damages. We're in for big trouble. So, I mean, that's the
What-
best thing to do is try to get it down as low as we can instead of keep poking the bear. Keep poking the bear, ain't gonna get better.
yeah. Well, that's right. You have to do it right. You have to negotiate. You have to prepare if you don't settle. And you have to prepare to get those damages. Right.
What is happening to Dasty?
We're firing him tonight.
Is he gonna be involved and therefore have two so-called litigation firms involved on this affordable housing? What is it? What will there be role? And if they do, what will their role be?
So everything would simply would ultimately call the shots, but they would, Jerry would simply be around to the extent that he has any relevant knowledge from recent timeframes. He can provide that assistance if it's needed from Cole Shot.
He's only been hired for the past month. He's only been working for the borough for the past month. Isn't that for 2 months?
Right, and so probably not a whole lot that Jerry would need to do, but
Based on our Based on, because I received email communication in his letter saying that he is resigning his position on the affordable as a special counsel for affordable housing. So I'm confused as to what his intentions were. Yeah, what his role is.
In the meantime, already Matt mentioned that, we need temporarily, because in transition period, I wanted to use his knowledge and experience prior, so that, you can hear me?
Or you said that, okay.
Yeah, it's a transition period. I'm gonna use his knowledge and at least he has some sort of information, then, they can cooperate together. That I wanted about it to stay here. So that's it. Okay, so don't worry, his charge is not much expensive and anyway, just a new law firm coming here, they do have knowledge, then, I just support for them. That's my opinion.
or role in what do what over the overall lead, whereas right now Jerry's overall lead, Paul Shots.
One question, it's Melanie. Is
Hi,
Paul
Melanie.
Schatz going to be the lead attorney or are they gonna be co-counsel with Al?
They're gonna be co-counsel.
Not according to-
When we get a few minutes, they can be co-counsel with Al.
So just to be clear, right? For every attorney reports to the municipal attorney, which is but when it comes to this, the attorney's ruling is simply that Al has to remain on. Also, the borough called Shots. Council guys have a right to direct who on your team is calling the overall strategy shots for the team, and that would be called Shots.
Another question, Matt.
Uh-huh.
Dassey's firm was supposed to provide us with a demand letter by last week. And I believe he said that either he received it or it was coming. Did we receive that demand letter?
They have not provided.
And did they ever provide us a reason as to why that demand letter, as he had promised, did not come forward?
As far as I know, they just haven't done.
Okay.
That's what Mr. Bessie will follow.
Right now, had anybody doing nothing until this issue gets resolved. I don't want Jerry or anybody doing anything on this until we know if call shots is being retained. So, you know, right now everyone is standing down, waiting until the council makes a decision on retaining or not retaining call shots.
What is Mr. Yellen's experience in doing? Is he a damage expert? Is he an expert in damages?
Yeah.
Mr. Yellen, is he a damage and calculating damages for?
Nothing to do with building affordable housing, it had to do with whether or not, you know.
Right, but even when you calculate damages, yeah, even in contract cases, there is like this is. I would assume that most of the damages would be a calculation of, yeah. When you say commercial, it's not commercial; it's construction, right? There in the. So has he done construction damages cases in the past?
Permanent mindset, and I talked to them, we outlined, I don't want to get into exactly what areas of, is, you know, he, you know, damages, but, you know, that's what this has to, and the big firm, and the benefit of a big firm also is that it makes something with specific experience in an area, you know, the entire firm, and, you know, it's a return.
But the head attorney who manages it has to have a construction damages background, don't we think?
Yeah.
But Mr. Yellen is not that person. When I looked at his resume, and none of the cases that he lists on his resume have anything to do with construction matters. Or affordable housing matters.
Whether, you know, what, off the top of my head, I don't know what specifically in terms of construction is him specifically, but you know, he's got another partner I know that he works with, specifically. It's not. It sounds like Barry's name, but it's not on there. But they have a whole firm. That's the reason you go to a big firm. So Mike Yellen just happens to be somebody that I know, which is why, you know. Listen, as everyone knows, right? If you know somebody, that's the person you call in the firm, and that's the person you say, "Hey, what team can you assemble?" He's a great attorney, which is why I went to him in that firm.
He may be a great attorney, but I'm not too confident, or based on his resume alone, whether he has any specific experience in doing construction damages. That's my only issue. There might be other attorneys in the firm who do construction damage claims, as well as has done hearings in the past. But I would like to meet that person rather than somebody who will act merely as a coordinator of experts within their firm. Exactly. Like I would rather talk and deal with a person who's going to try the damages issue at the hearing.
All of this, but if it gets to an issue where there's some nuanced area of the law that requires a special. That's, you know, I do it in my firm, and I only got 7 attorneys. You know, some people have more expertise in certain areas than others. And that's, you know,
only because the legal issue that we face right now, it's already defined. It's very specific. It's a damaged construction claim, not general commercial or transactional in nature, which
But
Mr.
correct
Yellen's
me if
resume shows.
if I'm wrong, there are other variables in this that really it needs a holistic look at the whole situation, not just.
Which
one
variables
corner of it.
are we talking about? Which variables are we talking about? It's a construction damages hearing.
Penalty phase,
We've already been.
7 years, 8 years.
The hearing that is coming up, whether it's in March or April, is very narrow. It's a narrow area of the issues before us. We're not relitigating the affordable housing issue anymore. It's done. It's just the construction damages portion of it, right? For the delays and.
So, I'll make a motion to table our resolution, please.
Second.
Tabling 2466.
Okay.
At least until, I think,
Yeah,
Councilman
table,
Kim makes
okay.
valid points about,
Local,
let's make
please.
sure that they have.
Okay, this item is tabling items, right? Okay, local, please.
Member Kim,
Yes.
member Simon,
Yes.
member Luciano, member Di Gregorio, member Begets, member Liang. Hands are tied.
No,
I make a motion to,
Let's have this-
yeah, already, no, not,
I make them, I make,
24-6 needs roll call, please.
Member Kim,
No.
member Simon,
What
member
is it?
Luciano,
No.
member Di Gregorio.
what are we voting on?
26, yes.
Got it. Just want to make sure I'm up to speed here. It's going a little too fast for me. Yes.
Member Begets,
Yes.
member Liang. Hands are tied.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, let's move on to item number 24-67. Authorizing amendment to the temporary budget and Jerry, you want to explain about this one?
Mayor, this is a resolution prepared by our CFO,
Uh-huh.
authorizing emergency appropriation to the 2024 municipal budget for the amount of $700,000 for the payment of Riverside Co-op road improvement program. We owe them
$18.
$18,206.30.
What is the other $80,000 for?
80,000.
Well, it's like, it was 700,000, I thought that we owe them 611. 18, that's,
And the others, but then.
I'm confused with it, I mean, we have two resolutions, one for Riverside, one for the, what is it?
Just for the purpose of, Mayor, may I speak? I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just for the purpose of clarity, resolution 24-67, you're putting that up at the recommendation of the borough administrator because it has to be passed in order to be able to do resolution 24-68. Is that right?
That is not new by the CFO, right?
Okay, so
Temporary appropriation for the 2024 budget for the evening.
Correct. and this pay, so the real issue is whether resolution 24-68, which is a payment of a balance of $618,286.33 to DNL paving should be approved by this board, right? Obviously, that's what. Okay, I mean, all right. Whether the resolution 67 is changed to the exact amount as opposed to that, okay, yeah, but my question is. In connection with resolution 2468. I have a problem with this because from my understanding of it is this payment was to be made from the prior year's budget. That was not certified by the chief financial officer of this borough. Even though allegedly we passed a resolution that required his certification that there was enough funds at that time. So my question is, where is this money coming from our budget in 2024?
We were apprised by the former borough attorney that the resolution was passed, but the money wasn't certified.
Meaning it wasn't there.
Yeah.
It didn't exist.
So that's, I don't know where they're getting it from.
Okay, then
That's my question. Where is the borough administrator proposing to take this $618,000 money from the 2024 budget?
What is the process here?
So you'd have to bond it in this year's budget.
So really, it's the interpretation is, it's not coming from anywhere, it's not in the budget, that's why they think we're gonna do an emergency appropriation. Even though I'm gonna ask the attorney and ask Matt and ask Mr. Barbario as our administrator, do you really think that if you look at the regulations from the Department of Community Affairs, that this expense is actually an emergency appropriation? Because my reading of it says that this has to be something that is unanticipated. And I'd like to know how we can say that this is unanticipated when we had a major malfunction last year in paying this bill. How is that? And
But Bernie even talked about it at the end of last year when Roberta Stern was here. And they both told us that there's no money.
And if I may, Jerry, I'm sure you know, special emergency appropriation. It allows you to pay for the debt in a different term than regularly being just appropriated in the current year's budget. So I understand the financial implications, but I think it's a bunch of, it's a dog and pony show. Something happened last year that Chris wants to run over and say, oh, well, the CFO admitted that there was a mistake. But I think we need to look further deeper into it. This is a $1 million contract that was passed to the council and the mayor as if it was okay to do it.
But the
We
funds-
rely on our professionals, and we relied on the borough administrator to tell us last year that we can move forward with this. And we did, and now we don't have the funds to pay it. And your answer, Chris, is it's going to be a $700,000. Well, I shouldn't say that. It depends on how they find it. If we bond it, naturally it'll be lower, and that's the whole rigmarole that we. But it's a $700,000 hit to the taxpayers that really should have been covered last year.
But we have to pay. What are we gonna do now? People have to get paid. Maybe this is the emergency here. They have to get paid.
I like to know where it's, yeah, the budget hasn't, yeah, exactly. The budget for 2024 has not even been discussed yet. I mean, I guess I wasn't here during when it was discussed, but
I don't know.
was this,
Yes, they
were
was
we
brought up.
told where this this money was gonna come from?
Was not discussed in the 24 budget. That's what council is saying. So it was mentioned in our discussion about how it wasn't paid.
Right.
Councilman Kim is specifically saying, we had a budget presentation, there's been no budget meetings, and now all of a sudden. To our knowledge, then maybe we'll be informed of it at the next general meeting, because that's when we'll get our updates. But that this money, that's what he's referring to. Okay, it's never been mentioned in the budget process. We haven't even done it. We had a budget meeting that had nothing to do with the budget except for the process itself.
I think the solution that is being proposed, simply put up a bond ordinance. It's just it's too easy. We have to look at our budget in 2024 and see whether this amount can be fit in as opposed to incurring additional debt on behalf of the borough.
So I think that these people need to be paid. They did the work.
I know.
Yeah,
The problem is, we're gonna take the hit. Because now it's gonna be this year.
And somebody
Well, it
has to be
should be.
held accountable because it was claimed to be certified, but it wasn't.
It was not certified.
So that's a real
It
problem.
was.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't understand how we don't keep our chief financial officer accountable for that.
okay, so Laura, could you call him?
He's on.
Okay, yeah, we can ask him.
Yeah, he's on right now.
It's wrong. What happened here?
Can we get on mute?
I don't wanna see these people not get paid. I don't know where they are.
Exactly.
I really don't, because they did the work. They're entitled
Now
to
we have to
be
play
paid.
with the numbers, where it's coming from. This is what it's all about. What have to be paid.
Okay.
Shuaib is here.
What'd you say?
CFO.
Oh,
You have to unmute. Okay, there you go.
Leslie's
It-
gonna come up.
It keeps telling me to unmute, but I'm not sure if I'm unmuted or not already.
Can hear you.
We can hear you.
We're fine. Someone have to question?
Can you hear us?
So, okay, we're.
Yeah,
I
so
can hear, I
Shuaib,
can hear you. I can hear you all.
this amount, the $618,000, right? That was not originally intended to be bonded, correct? That was part of alleged prior appropriations from the budget, prior year budgets?
No, it was initially supposed to have been bonded, but the plan was to bond it in 2024 along with several other projects.
What are you talking about? I thought it was supposed to be certified. How can you certify that you have funds when we don't when we didn't have them at the time. Like, I don't understand how we could incur a
Well-
$1 million debt without
Well,
having
that was
certified.
the-
documents.
That was the whole problem, that the contract was awarded without availability of funds. And that's why the bond ordinance, my plan was to do it in 2023 before the payment is made.
So what
What
happened?
happened? Yeah.
To be fair, I
I've
think the-
explained this a few times already.
To get the bond done. You want to hear what happened or no? Okay.
What did you say? I'm sorry. Can you repeat
I
it?
said I've explained this a few times, but I'll repeat it if you want me to.
Yeah, would you please, so we can have a better understanding, you can put in movie here. Yeah.
So initially in November, when I was presented with the first payment requisition, I realized that there's no funds in place. I immediately went into action to try to do a bond ordinance at the November meeting, have it adopted at the December meeting, and get the contractor paid by the end of the year. I was told that, no, we're not going to follow that plan. We will do a partial payment to the contractor based on existing bond ordinances for road improvements, and the balance will be bonded in the new year, along with several other projects. In one of them was the park expansion or the supplemental funding for the park.
Wait, you mean when we bond for the park, we have to include this in it? The 618?
Yes, this will eventually, if you read the resolution that I drafted, it says this appropriation will eventually be funded through a bond ordinance before the adoption of 2024 budget. Otherwise, you will have to include this in your 2024 operating budget.
Joanne, how come this just came to light in November?
While the resolution awarding the contract was done in June, I at the time,
CFO in June?
excuse me?
We were the CFO in June.
Yes, I was the CFO, and I've taken responsibility for the fact that I overlooked it. I've sold
Okay,
it a
thank
few
you.
times. Yes,
So who told you not to bond it, 2023?
administrator's turn, administrator's turn.
We kind of, in council in general, because we didn't think there was enough time to just go forward with one bond at the end of the year, but you have to have 30 days. And so.
Okay,
So the
The
plan was to go-
the bond ordinance needs 2 meetings, and we had more than enough time to do the bond ordinance.
We had enough time?
We had more than enough time, yes.
Okay, then what do you want?
According to Mr. Metz, it's not.
Okay.
Uh,
Go make the messenger.
Well,
Yeah,
he's-
but,
he's certified funds. Hang the messenger. He's the one that had to say to the resolution.
okay, why don't you pass a resolution tonight? And we, pass the resolution tonight, and we're gonna do it there.
Money in park bond ordinance that we're going to be asked,
It,
what,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, somebody help me.
That's what I'm asking. Simple, simple.
Because I know that I was asked about supporting a bond ordinance for the park. But nobody told me that this would become a part of it.
Okay,
And
Well,
I
this-
don't even know how much they're
It's not
looking
going
to
to
bond.
be, it's not going to be part of a bond that's going to be identified as a part. What usually happens in a general sense is there's a bond anticipation note. That you get all these bond anticipation notes that you first fund for. And then you go out, so there might be $1 million for a truck, 1 million, 3 trucks, a garbage truck, a fire truck. Oh, we're also gonna do a $5 million for the park. So you do a bond anticipation note, and you can renew them up to, I think, 10 years, but 5 years. So once you get all your stuff together that you want to go out to bond for, so you only pay one-time bond council instead of running it through like the last administration, 2 days before the end of the year. But you go and put all that stuff together, and it's a general bond appropriation.
Okay.
But there'll be different, and Shuey, please, if I'm not explaining it right, just let us know, but.
The only addition I would do is I think it was Councilman Luciano who was speaking, that you're not doing a bond anticipation note, you're actually doing a bond ordinance. It's called a multi-purpose bond ordinance, which has several improvements in it. And to fund that bond ordinance, you will go out and issue a bond anticipation note. And yes, you're right, you can renew them up to 10 years. And then eventually you'll do a bond sale for a town like Englewood Cliffs. You would do it every 6 to 8 years to minimize the issuance cost.
So the issue for you is that no one's gonna come back to me and say, Glenn, you told us 8 million for the park and making up a number. Now all of a sudden it's 9 million. How the hell did that happen?
Okay.
No,
So there were other
got
things
something from the
included.
road improvement.
It's a bound council.
Dakotas, I
So
believe.
if I can, chime in, basically there are two things that went wrong here. In June, when the resolution was awarded for the Riverside Co-op program with the revolving doors for administrators, and I'm not getting away from the blame or the responsibility. I should have, been more responsible. Resolution is awarded, resolution was passed. There was no funding in place at the time. So ideally, you would have had a bond ordinance already in place or an existing appropriation. Neither one were there. The resolution was passed awarding the contract. It came to my light when the payment was presented to me in November. I was under the impression that there are existing either prior bond ordinances or prior appropriations. Since Riverside Co-op usually is a 1-year process, I was under the impression maybe there are appropriations already in place from prior years. That was not the case, at least not to that extent. That's why I said, okay, it's only beginning of November. We still have 2 more meetings, not counting on any other special meetings. We can still get a bond ordinance done. And my recommendation for the bond ordinance was that this was not $100,000 or $200,000 item. This was $1 million item, which has its merits to be a bond ordinance on its own. That's why I was pushing to at least get this bond ordinance done in 2023 and not mix it up with any other projects that the council might be doing in the new year. And if he had done that, the contractor would have been paid by the end of the year, and you would have had a bond ordinance in place. You had more than enough money in your budget to serve as a down payment for this bond ordinance, but none of those things were done, or I was prevented from doing it. So I'm saying that I do take the responsibility, but I had a plan to fix what happened. So it wouldn't have dragged into a new year.
Do we have any road improvement projects going on this year? I would assume we do.
In 2024?
Yeah. This year.
We will eventually, yes,
Yeah,
depending on.
with Riverside?
Have it every year.
What?
Oh,
We
This,
do.
there's one every year.
Well, haven't we
you-
started yet? Haven't we started? Mr. Berg, have we started meeting with department heads? What are they putting capital on road improvements?
Well, your first step would be to choose the streets, if I'm not mistaken, and see which streets you would like to include in the program, whether you want to be part of the Riverside Co-op again, or you want to
We've
go out
always
to
been
bid by
one
yourself.
design.
In my initial meetings with Mr. Neville, the DPW superintendent, is that this year is a little bit more complicated because of all the work that PSCNG is doing. Want to make sure that any of the roads that we put on the plan are not dug up in the future, and then any of the roads that are repaired with PSCNG that are also completed, since they only do, from what I'm told, half of the road instead of the entire.
And I do remember that it is possible to deal a little bit with PSCNG, which is, I think if we can take advantage of that and take advantage of the roads being ripped up this year, and depend on them to repave the roads and wheel and deal with them a little bit, maybe we can save a little money on the road paving projects. Of course. Yeah. On everything, right? Mhm. I totally understand. Yeah.
Can you get a list from Mark of what he anticipates he'd like to do?
I'll ask Mark.
Well, were any of the roads are repaired using under this item? Were any of those roads ripped up by PSCG this year as part of their
I-
projects?
So it just seems like we should,
Okay.
should I move this?
No, I'm gonna roll call this one.
I ask you to talk to the attorney.
Sure. Yeah.
Temporary budget amendment, 4 votes, or 3.
It'll be 3 with the Bears vote.
So it can be just not a super majority on the temporary budget.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call, please.
No, I don't have a motion in a second.
We did, no?
No.
We need a motion.
Oh, I need, can I have a motion for motion 24-67?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
What are we voting on?
on the amend-
24, that's temporary budget.
Member
temporary
King?
budget.
Yes.
Member Simon,
No,
member Luciano? Member Di Gregorio?
Yes.
Member Begets?
Yes.
Member Liang?
Yes.
It passes.
Okay, now, next item is resolution 24-68.
Motion
Okay,
2468.
any second?
Second.
Any discussion, this one? Any
We
further?
did.
No? Okay, roll call, please.
Member Kim?
Yes.
Member Simon?
no,
Member Luciano?
So,
Member Di Gregorio?
Yes.
Member Begets?
Yes.
Member Liang?
Yes.
It passes.
Mr. Mayor, are we going, do we have closed session or not?
We have a closed session, we need it?
I don't think we need it.
I don't think so.
No.
He's not, no.
Okay,
Matt,
And-
Can I be recognized, Mayor, please?
yeah, okay,
I'd like to make a motion to terminate Jerry Dasty since we have now a high dollar full stocks attorney and Mr. Warren, who's done nothing but good work for us. I make a motion to.
second,
Mr. Dasty.
okay, roll call, please.
Member Kim?
Yes.
Member Simon?
yes,
Member Luciano?
Yes, and I'm making this motion. I know there was no call for discussion, but I'm gonna make a comment. I've been in court with this gentleman a
You-
few times.
You already
Maybe that's-
discussed about this case,
Excuse me?
you already discussed this case in advance, so that's why we are in the middle of a roll call, please.
What are you referring to?
We did it already. You did.
No, we did discuss this about that. No, but
Okay.
before you went over it pretty thoroughly.
Discuss this motion. I
No.
just made. Okay, so then please. And there was no call for discussion and the epitome of Mr. Dasty is going to the court and standing before the judge and not even having read the appellate division decision. Okay, the only thing he has done is drain money from us and he's accomplished 0. As a matter of fact, he was in court the other day. He wasn't even in the court on the right day. He was supposed to be. And he joked with me, don't worry, I'm not gonna charge you for it. I said, don't worry, I didn't plan on paying you for it. So my vote is to terminate him, yes.
Member Di Gregorio?
No.
Member Begets?
No.
Member Liang?
No.
Mayor Tatai?
No.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to, whatever rates that Paul Schatz is going to be getting, that we pay the same thing to our other attorneys, if that's the way you guys all want to go, so we might as well pay Mr.
that's it.
Can you make that a more?
That's what you pay one, you can pay all.
Discussion, please, discussion. I think, may I,
Yes.
comment on that?
Discussion, please.
I think that is, as your sworn oath to make a motion like that, I think it's totally out of line. And I think that, if that were, if the public knew that you were making a motion as that, they would probably run you out of town. So I would say that, that is a rather foolish, and childish, and very useless motion, on your part. And frankly, irresponsible, okay?
Shops. Chips. At $400 an hour, $500. You have a cap of $150,000.
Councilwoman Simon, if it,
That if you don't look for attorneys that are willing to at least come down to Matt Mensch is worth a lot more than we pay him, right? But you know what? He has a municipal rate. Okay, you know, their rate instead of 1,500 is now almost a Cadwalader rate. So if we're gonna do that and you guys don't mind, that we have 3 attorneys on it now, we might as well make it equal.
If it's
Why
Mr.
not?
Gasky also.
All right, let's vote on it. Go ahead.
So this
Okay.
including Wunsch, Dasty,
No, no,
two
no, no,
or the
just the-
attorneys,
No,
Just
no.
Wunsch.
just Wunsch, okay.
That's my motion in the second, that's on the floor.
Yes,
And
he
I'll
wants
remind
the same
my council
payment
members
as
of the
Coach
court
wants to
order that
Wunsch.
should be proposed.
Member Kim?
No.
Member Simon?
Yes.
Member Luciano?
Yes.
Member Di Gregorio? Member Begets?
Can't vote.
You can vote. Why don't you defer to the attorney if you can vote or not?
No.
I believe,
Yeah.
Says they cannot vote. How's that? You want to, here,
what's the council?
Okay, this is a 20th, okay?
You don't have.
Okay, then,
What's the count?
It's
It's 2-2.
It failed.
Okay, so
just so the public sees, okay? Here's the order. You don't need. it
That
from-
Mr.
you don't need
Wunsch
it
is
from
not
me.
gonna, like,
You got it from the judge.
thank you very much.
It's
So then you can, so if he's not, you're not, can they vote then or not?
no,
If he's not in conflict?
I think that we should,
I think
it's on its own, as far as I understand, that is, this is just, okay, please, you talking too much, please. Allow the other people talking about, it, okay? Please, really. Yeah, okay, please listen about it. As far as I understand about this one, and we cannot vote about the Albert Wunsch's, termination, other than we can vote it.
yeah.
That's
so-
it. That's it.
It's to be advised, and we'll
You
get
can vote.
you in court soon, so it doesn't matter.
you should make a.
It's
should
votes
make a-
2-2 as it stands. It fails.
It failed.
So if you votes 2-2 as it stands, so failed, so.
Okay.
Okay, so it failed.
2-2.
There you go, makes it easy, right?
Perfect, fails.
You can also vote 2, as you're right.
The vote.
Right, so you're, I just want to be clear as an attorney.
Okay.
You're advising them they can vote. I just want that on the record.
See,
I just want you on the record saying that
I haven't,
you're advising them that because they're going by your advice. And I just heard you say that he. can
no, they're
vote.
going by, Councilman, they're going by the roll call vote. That's 2-2 and it fails. Thank you.
No.
But no, but you.
The
just said
question
something.
is, we want your opinion as to whether they can vote or not on the
He
vote.
can vote. and I
So
want that on the
obviously-
record, and I have
obviously,
court order.
It would not fail if they were able to vote. So we're asking the borough attorney for his opinion. Yes.
The motion failed as far as it sounds like 2.
Motion,
Okay.
motion to close,
There's a motion to close.
motion to close, motion to close.
Because right now.
Do I have a second? Second, let's call the question, motion to close, call the
Okay,
question.
can I go for it? Close session.
Motion to close, call the question.
That,
If
Yeah.
you don't know the answer, just say it. We have to,
I don't.
Say that, it makes it so much safer.
Okay, are we taking a vote?
Yes.
Vote
There's a roll call.
what's the vote? I'm sorry.
To close.
close
To
discussion.
close.
Well, no, it's really, since he made a motion
Wait, but it's
to call the question, technically, you're supposed to call
The
the
question,
the question.
and then
You
you
want
want the motion to close.
But you can
So
do whatever
much
you
for-
want for the last 3 years, so do whatever you want.
Are we
Okay.
going into close?
No,
Oh,
Member Kim?
I think it was to adjourn, right?
yes, to
Right,
adjourn,
yes.
correct.
Yes.
There's a roll call for a motion to
What am
adjourn.
I-
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's to adjourn.
Yes.
Okay. Member
Yeah,
Kim?
watch the same breathe as cold shots.
Member Kim, sorry.
Yes to adjourn.
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 Thank you. Member Simon? Member Luciano? Member Di Gregorio?
Yes, adjourn.
Oh,
Member
it was-
Begets? Member Begets?
Yes.
Member Liang?
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Too late.
Well, Merry Christmas for next week.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay,
No, so if it's a tie. vote-
okay, thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. Thank you, okay.